The Super Bowl, the game of games when it comes to the NFL. Not everyone ends their career as a Super Bowl champion. And, of course, that even includes the best of the best that are playing in today's league. John Elway, Ed Reed, Jerome Bettis, LeSean McCoy, and Darrelle Revis. These are just several of the notable NFL greats who won a Super Bowl championship at or near the very end of their careers. But of course, the vast majority of NFLers never even get their hands on football's ultimate prize. You only get so many opportunities at it, and you best not miss over and over again when the chances are plenty. There are several notable NFL stars and veterans who are running out of time to win it all. And if they don't win the Super Bowl in 2023, you may as well pencil them down as the guys who will retire ringless. So with all that said, here are 10 NFL stars who enter 2023 with one last shot at a Super Bowl championship. Ryan Tannehill. Don't think anybody would have critiqued the Tennessee Titans if they had decided to cut bait with Ryan Tannehill. But no, new GM Rand Carthen wants to see what Tannehill can do in a contract year, with promising rookie Will Levis right behind him on the depth chart. Tannehill was already kind of on the hot seat entering 2022 following a second straight one-and-done postseason outing. He was inconsistent over his 12 starts before suffering a season-ending ankle injury. The Titans imploded without Tannehill, failing to win a single game once he went down to injury. Instead of beginning the rebuild, the Titans chose to keep him around for at least one more kick at the can here in 2023. So, this is it for Tannehill. Now or never. If he can't stay healthy and perform well for the Titans in 2023, well, he probably won't be a regular starting QB ever again. And that means kissing a chance at a Super Bowl championship and goodbye. The Levis selection immediately puts Tannehill on borrowed time. Will that extra pressure make or break Tannehill in 2023? Well, that's to be determined. Stay tuned. Keenan Allen. The five-time Pro Bowler is on the long list of San Diego/Los Angeles greats who have suffered an unbelievable amount of gut-wrenching defeats. Consider this. Since Allen's 2013 rookie year, the Chargers have won 2 playoff games, never getting past the divisional round. He's had the fortunes of playing with 2 great QBs in Phillip Rivers and Justin Herbert, but it just never, ever comes together for the Bolts when it matters most. Many thought the Chargers would release Allen this offseason, but they wound up restructuring his deal. But hey, nobody said they can't move on after the 2023 season. Allen is injury-prone and no longer the WR1 in La La Land. That honor belongs to Mike Williams. Not to mention, the Chargers already used their first-round pick on TCU standout Quentin Johnston. The Chargers are a borderline Super Bowl contender. But if they don't go on a deep run in 2023, changes will be made. And that may include moving on from an oft-injured wideout on the wrong side of 30. And if the Chargers decide to cut bait with Allen next year, what other contenders will want to take a chance on a fading asset? Allen and company better show up for the big moments here in 2023, because the window of opportunity for a Super Bowl is closing for multiple Chargers, including Allen. Tyron Smith. Smith's spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is essentially all locked up. He'll go down as one of the greatest offensive tackles the game has ever seen, with 8 Pro Bowl nods and a 2010s All-Decade team spot on his resume. Since the Cowboys' last Super Bowl championship season in 1995, the club has never gotten past the divisional round. Smith, unfortunately, is among the Cowboys who has stomached his fair share of brutal playoff losses. The soon-to-be 33-year-old is entering his contract year with Dallas. Considering that Jerry Jones rarely keeps fading veterans on his roster long-term, it feels like 2023 is going to be Smith's final year in Dallas. While Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, Tony Pollard, Trayvon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, and DeMarcus Lawrence will still have several chances of winning it all beyond 2023, Smith is undoubtedly on borrowed time here. Also consider that Smith will be 34 years of age in 2024. Will he even be a starter by that point? I mean, maybe on a mediocre or rebuilding club, but not a team in win-now mode like the Cowboys. Smith has done his part in trying to help the Cowboys win that elusive 6th Super Bowl ring, but this is truly his last shot at adding the only thing missing on what has been an otherwise near flawless career, a Super Bowl ring. Cameron Jordan. Few active NFL players have gone through more postseason heartbreak than the New Orleans Saints superstar Cameron Jordan. I mean, just to name a few, there was the 2011 divisional round thriller at Candlestick Park, the Minneapolis Miracle, the Nola no call, that overtime loss to the Minnesota Vikings, Google Kyle Rudolph push-off in the 2019 NFC wildcard round. It's all. Jordan only seems to get better with age, but the same can't be said for the only NFL team that he's ever known. The 8-time Pro Bowler and 2010's All-Decade team member is entering his age 34 season, and the Saints' competitive window is rapidly closing. Rather than begin the inevitable rebuild, they signed ex-Las Vegas Raiders QB Derek Carr to captain the offense. Now, playing in that pathetic NFC South certainly improves the Saints' chances of going on a deep postseason run in 2023, but if they fail to accomplish that goal, rebuild time will be over, and that likely means cutting ties with Jordan and other key veterans. Jordan has come close-ish to reaching the Super Bowl with the Saints, but this is really his last good chance of winning it all. But hey, no pressure at all on him or his teammates. No, none at all. Demario Davis. Speaking of Cameron Jordan's teammates, Davis is in practically the exact same position as Jordan. He only seems to get better with age, but the Saints are really running out of time to win a second Lombardi trophy before the painful rebuilding period arrives. David is also entering his age 34 season. He's not getting any younger, and what are the odds he'll continue to play at a Pro Bowl level beyond 2023? Yeah, they certainly aren't good. Davis is coming off his 6th straight season of recording 100-plus tackles. He and Jordan have been one of football's most disruptive defensive duos. And, well, the only thing missing for both is a championship. Teammates like Alvin Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk, and Marshawn Lattimore were young enough to know that there's still plenty of time to win a championship. But for the pair of 34-year-old defensive stalwarts, this is probably the last opportunity to hoist that Lombardi trophy. Pure and simple. Randall Cobb. Few NFL players have been unluckier in the postseason than Cobb. He was drafted by the Packers in 2011, just a couple of months after the team defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl 45. Aaron Rodgers' longtime pal was also on the wrong end of 2 NFC Championship game losses while with the Packers. To be honest, Cobb shouldn't be a starter anymore, but Rodgers made the Packers bring him back in 2021, and he made the New York Jets do the same when they landed the 4-time MVP in a blockbuster trade. So, here it is. Cobb enters his age 33 season, potentially his very last in the NFL. He's now reunited with Rodgers and a Jets team that suddenly carries massive championship aspirations. If the Jets can't win it all in 2023, they will not hesitate to move on from Cobb. They basically brought him in as a favor for Rodgers, and if the Jets don't win the Super Bowl, which championship contender will realistically want to sign him in his age 34 season next year? It is now or never for Cobb. Dwayne Brown. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Quinnen Williams, and Ahmad Sauce Gardner are among the notable Jets players who have plenty of time to win it all. But like Mr. Cobb, Brown is running out of time to add that elusive Super Bowl ring to his finger. The 5-time Pro Bowler couldn't win it all with the Houston Texans or Seattle Seahawks despite playing on several competitive teams there. After losing Mackie Becton for the entire 2022 season, the Jets brought in the 2012 first-team All-Pro on a 2-year deal. The Jets are banking on the aging Brown and the injury-prone Becton to hold down the 2 offensive tackle spots for Rodgers. Now, with all due respect to Brown, about to enter his age 38 season, he is hardly starting caliber anymore. So if he doesn't win it all with the Jets this year, that's probably going to be it for him. If he plays in 2024, it'll be for a bottom feeder team and not a real contender. He is lucky the Jets are willing to keep him around for 1 more year. Now it's up to Brown to hold up his end of the bargain and try to win a championship in what will be his last realistic chance. Darius Slay. Big play Slay was so close to removing himself from eligibility on this list back in February. But Slay and his Philadelphia Eagles fell just short of winning Super Bowl 57, dropping an all-time heartbreaker to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the big game. The Eagles seemed ready to move on from Slay when they released him in March, only to bring back the 5-time Pro Bowler on a 2-year extension. Slay may be entering his age 32 season, but he remains at the top of his game. But as loaded as his Philly team is, 2023 might be the last real opportunity for this current mix of stars to win it all. Consider that they could lose all of Jason Kelce, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and Lane Johnson to retirement or free agency, and by 2024, the 49ers shouldn't be the only NFC team posing as a realistic threat to the Eagles. If Philly falls short of its ultimate goal this season, do not be surprised if Howie Roseman begins a youth movement by moving on from Slay and others. Even if Slay finishes out his deal with the Eagles, it is hard to think that the 2024 group will be the ultra-dominant and star-studded unit that they are now. So, yeah, consider this Slay's last shot at a championship. No pressure, though. No, No pressure at all. Khalil Mack. The 2016 Defensive Player of the Year has 2 years left on his deal with the Chargers, but given his age, injury history, and recent production, I think it's fair to call 2023 a put up or shut up year for Mack in La La Land. Mack hasn't hit double-digit sacks in a season since 2018. He had 8 last season, but Pro Football Focus also graded him at just 71.1 on the year. That means he is slightly above average, but certainly nothing close to elite anymore. The top Super Bowl contenders won't be keen on adding a man in his mid-30s in 2024 or 2025. Should the Chargers decide to cut ties with him. The 7-time Pro Bowler has a real shot to win it all here with Herbert, Joey Bosa, and everyone else. But while those guys are just in the midst of their primes, Mack is already past his. If he wants to retire with a ring on his resume, Mack and the Bolts better stop the whole Chargers gonna Charger thing and actually do something in the postseason. Patrick Peterson. Non-QBs aside, there's a case to be made that Peterson is probably the best active NFLer over the age of 30 without a Super Bowl championship on his resume. He's not elite anymore, but Peterson made a strong case as the best cornerback of his era, specifically throughout the 2010s decade. After 2 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings, Peterson signed a 2-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers in free agency. It's a good fit for both sides, no doubt. It's also Peterson's last chance to collect a ring before he calls it quits on his Hall of Fame career. The Steelers will be competitive thanks to their mix of young and veteran star power. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cameron Hayward, Minka Fitzpatrick, Kenny Pickett, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, etc., etc. You get the drill. But Peterson isn't young and still in his prime like those guys. If he doesn't perform up to his usual standards in 2023, well, the Steelers will most likely move on after 1 year and find a better solution at corner. And if Peterson can't produce in Steel City, there might not be a single team out there keen on giving Peterson a starting cornerback role in 2024. Throw in how ridiculously stacked the entire AFC is right now, and this year really shapes up to being Peterson's final shot at a Super Bowl. But which other NFL stars have one last chance at winning a Super Bowl in 2023? Was there anyone that we missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.